Okay.
All right, team players. Here we are doing another PPR 10-man league using Sleeper as our platform to do this here. And again, you can find us here on the platform by joining us. And we're sitting here at the 4 and the 6 picks to start today's draft. And here we go. Let's dive into it. So the settings for this one, we're trying a lot of different settings for people so they know what it is. This is going to be 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 2 flex. So more of a standard type league than just a quick burn it in and out of mock. But again, the whole point of doing this is to test your systems and do what it is. And I know for myself, I'm going to put myself in a handicap in this one, Bob. By the end of the 4th round, I'm going to make sure that I either have a quarterback or a tight end. So I'm going to give myself a handicap of one or the other and just see what happens. Because as we do in other mocks, it was really good. I love going running back heavy. And Eckler is the wrong pick to take above McCaffrey, period, all day long. I'm getting either Chase or McCaffrey. I'm already happy and excited, Bob.
I mean, it's okay to be happy and excited. I think that when you're taking a look at your teams this year and you're drafting in the top, McCaffrey, Jamar Chase, these are all really.
I don't think Eckler belongs near it. See, I like the Bijan pick at 5. I justify that. I justify Taylor at 6.
Handicap myself.
Oh, he's taking it early. He took the tight board early, which is good.
We're gonna go where Kelsey goes and see
because you're not going to take both the tight end and the quarterback. No. So I'm going to probably have to do the 3rd pick as the quarterback to keep my word to the people, which essentially says I'm handcuffing myself as going running back, and the other 2. So if you know you're doing this strategy going in, you have to plan out appropriately. And this is the draft strategy in which we're trying to teach and tell people about. So if you know I want Kelsey and he's there, you then have to go immediately into I need to make sure I have enough backs because this league is stacked with wide receivers. And we see a wide receiver run here at the end of the 1st round, meaning that there's going to be a quality running back to come my way on the backside here. Unless Bob takes him, Taylor should be there, although Bob should take Taylor.
I don't think he will be there.
But like I said, if you take him, he's there. But I just look at the runs that happen. I love not being at the end of the run. You know, there's a receiver run, and I was 2nd in line. I'm cool with that. You know, that's always a good feeling.
Being at the end of the run looks like this Omega guy is going to be.
Ooh, keeping the receivers going.
Okay.
Well, Adams is still out there. There's a chance of going. There goes Taylor.
All right. Well, we're going to take Nick Chubb here.
You do love yourself some Nick Chubb.
I think Nick Chubb, for all intents and purposes, has a really good chance to be, top 3, top 4 running backs when it comes down to it at the end of the year. The talent is there. The team is there. Ooh, bold.
I think Allen's going to be better than Mahomes, and I don't like any of the running backs that are here. I'm going to get Najee on the turn, and it's going to be fine. It was too early to take Najee there. I need to let some of these names of Pollard, and there goes Pollard right there. Henry needs to go, and the one from Oakland needs to go. So therefore, I know Henry will still be there as I come around on the 3rd.
Waited on Allen if you were going to take him. I think
I didn't have another pick to justify there, quite frankly, because I knew I took receiver off the board. I wasn't going to let myself take receiver.
Patrick Mahomes and Josh. Everybody would have left. Everybody would have left. They'd be like, I'm done with this. Screw it.
So I'm going to take Najee here on my next pick, which is kind of how it lined up. And then I'm hoping for like a Walker or a Gibbs on my comeback.
Look at that scariness there. We talked about that with the Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra.
It is, but he's not going to have any running backs. So, yes, it looks pretty and awesome, but if you don't have any running backs,
Pollard, Henry,
that's not sexy at all. Those are Pollard and Henry are just names that I'm not excited with. I'd way rather have Ramon Stevenson and Najee over Henry and Jacobs. Like without a doubt.
See, now here, this is not a sexy place.
Is this guy's picture Justin Fields?
This is not a sexy place to be in.
No, Bob, you're in a tough spot. Either you're going Breece Hall or you're going maybe Walker. Oh, Olave. I love me some Olave.
That's not a good place to be in.
No, because you basically have to go receiver or running backs for a while now. You have to get on the running back bus hard. Yeah. This is the challenge challenge of taking the tight end and quarterback, forcing yourself to take them the top 4 rounds. Although we might have caused a little bit of panic into people and have some other quarterbacks going sooner, which we could benefit from later. This is where learning how to hold your water is a huge deal in these drafts.
That Barkley, Gibbs, Higgins, Lamb, that could be a really nice combination there.
That's looking like a good start right now.
I've actually drafted with that guy on Sleeper before. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that he's off to a great start here. This guy who's up right now needs to come hard on the running back world, though. And there's a couple. This is where it's scary. There's 2 guys out here. See, he doesn't have a running back left. He's going to be in trouble. The guy who's got the 7th pick with Justin Fields as an avatar, he's going to be in trouble. And this is where the guy who's up right now, taking a quality running back, like if he would have taken ETN there, he basically could have had the league by his balls and just taking the thing over. So I know the 2 guys I'm looking at for my pick coming around here. I'm going to wait till you get done before I toss them out there.
Now, if DK Metcalf was on the board at that point in time, I would have basically handcuffed myself into picking DK Metcalf, because Olave and DK Metcalf combination with Nick Chubb, I think, is actually a good potential league winning.
I just think we're about to fall off the cliff of running back potential. And I look at the draft overall and how little there are left.
Who do I want?
See, to me, it's a 3-horse race. ETN, Jones, or Dobbins. I would take any of those 3, and since I have all 3, since I'm 3 picks out, I'm getting one of the 3. You took Jones. So my heart of hearts, I'd rather have Dobbins than ETN, just because Dobbins is going to be more volume there.
I just am not. I had ETN last year. He gets a lot of points, but I'm just, there's something about the situation this year that I'm just not. I don't know.
So really,
Dobbins. Okay,
dude, I told you I was going Dobbins.
You just keep.
Dobbins is one of my ride or die guys. For a 4th round value, knowing that he is going to be the ball share guy in Baltimore, they have been so plagued by injuries and playing so many subpar running backs. Mm-hmm. When Dobbins came on at the end of the year, he did have a very strong December last year. There was a sigh of relief through that entire organization. And him to be the linchpin, especially if they are true and do try to run the ball anymore, he actually will be more successful when they run it. And given the category of people around that's after Dobbins, like, I don't want to touch Mixon. I would take ETN if he's there on the comeback. There he goes, though. So I'm having a very hard choice right now. Do I want to take Madison on the comeback to me? Because that would give me 3 NFL starting running backs that do not have someone fighting them for their job.
The guy team 2 took Debo as his first wide receiver. I think that's useless.
Yeah, Debo's not a good first receiver.
Useless selection.
Yeah, I would rather have Keenan Allen here. But yeah, Bob, I'm sorry. I know he's one of your ride or die guys. But wait, let me see who's at receiver before I commit to this, because I wouldn't mind having Swift either. And I know you're going to take him regardless. But I don't want McLaurin. I'd rather have Madison than McLaurin, and that's just how straightforward that goes. Madison's one of these guys. There's no one fighting for carries. Even if they're a throw the ball a lot team, I think that he's going to do good. And I get it puts you in a bind 2 picks later, but this is part of knowing the people you're drafting with, right? Knowing what they're doing and knowing what they want to do. So I look at this guy here. He can go any direction. He's balanced as can be. He can go anywhere.
That's what's a little bit scary about his pick. If he lets the time run out, the computer's going to take it. Oh, and he took my guy. The computer took my guy. Gotta love when the computer does that.
Sure do.
Well, the running backs to me right now are a little bit useless. And so it leads me to then.
You don't want Dameon Pierce.
It leads me to then try to see what's going on here, and
you might be able to get Swift on the comeback. Oh, he touched Lamar.
I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna see what happens here.
That's definitely drafting on a hard mode, taking a quarterback and a tight end in the first 5.
But I'm coming out of the first 4 rounds with 2 running backs,
and that's clutch.
That's really important.
Yeah. And for where I'm sitting at here at the 4 spot, obviously there's a lot of picks before I come around here again. My mindset is this. I have one running back that I would take without a doubt. That is DeAndre Swift. The rest of it, if he's not there, I'm 100% taking a wide receiver. And I think in general, it's good to know your mentality entering the picks before you get there. It leads to less panicking and problem solving. And Bob, I'm really glad you just started a quarterback run because it gives me much more likely to have Swift still sitting there. Unless, of course, you take him. Which I can obviously not begrudge you of taking him as your third running back.
I'm going to take my boy.
Here's your boy.
How could I not take my boy?
Well, I just said I'm going to take Swift. He's there. It's a no-brainer. Doing it done. I have my 4 running backs. I have 4 starting running backs with a pretty decent mirage or a myriad of options there. This is a league where we can start 2 flexes, so they're not wasted picks. And now I just get to sit down and say, I already got Josh Allen. Let's go quarterback hunting. It's big game receiver hunting. That's where I'm at.
Receiver hunting, yeah.
I look at the group that just went before me in Moore, Godwin.
A little bit of a tight end juicy run there.
Love it. It let Jared Jeudy fall to me here, which is the guy I was eyeing. I think Jared Judy's going to give me a better year than Watson. I think Watson's one of these guys that's being drafted incredibly too high based upon 4 games of production just because he did them towards the end of the year. I don't like the Watson draft pick for this year overall.
Like I said, with my pick here, I'd rather have had Cam Akers sitting there, but obviously he went the pick before. I do like Jerry Jeudy as well, but Mike Williams, I think, is as a third option.
Hard to fight it.
Really hard to fight it, depending on his health. I mean, but when he's playing, he's a dog. So I think that's really important to understand that you really don't want to miss your 1 or 2, but I mean, this is a 3 wide receiver mock draft here. We got 2 guys on auto picks so far, so we're going to be fighting that the whole way through. Joe, here is that they're going to try to lock us up here.
Well, having a guy or 2 in your league on auto pick is kind of realistic to real life. There's so many people who just go down the list anyway, and that's part of what we're trying to teach you is how to get off your list and really take advantage of these types of opportunities. Because yes, we did put ourselves in hard mode for this particular episode of making us take either a tight end or a quarterback in the first 4 rounds. But I do think it's going to be something that gives us, good training, really, to see what it is. And who knows, these things might come out a little sexier than we thought.
If you always go the same strategy when you're doing mock drafts, I mean, you're not really diversifying.
See,
my guy.
But this is what you learn. You learn that you're going to be losing your guys a lot by wasting 2 of your first picks on a quarterback and a tight end. This is was a test just to see how our theories work about why you shouldn't do it. And Bob's team's living it. Mike Williams, not to denigrate him as a player, but being a 4th starter, it's hard. And as much as you hated on Mike Evans,
it was either Evans or Kamara, and I told you the last time that I can't conceivably take Kamara as a 3rd guy.
I wouldn't have had either of them on the list.
4th guy.
Not when there's Kirk and Lockett out there. I personally am more biased towards Kirk.
Taking chances,
So in that discussion of Kirk or Lockett, you see them go back to back there. The reason I take Kirk is I know that Kirk was the guy last year. Now, Ridley coming in might downgrade him to 2, but I know Lockett was already the 2. And with them adding the rookie to that team, he might be downgraded to the 3. Kirk gives me more long-term stability, I believe, than Lockett does. And then we get to literally debating about Smith-Njigba or George Pickens.
I think you got to take Pickens.
I do got to take Pickens because I like receivers that are entering into their 2nd year, and Pickens is an absolute athletic freak. I mean, some of the catches he made, his hands are glue. Developing with a 2nd-year quarterback, George Pickens got upside potential. He's also a huge red zone target.
Yeah, he is. And because I'm without a 3rd running back, I took Damian Harris a little bit earlier than expected.
Yeah, but Damian Harris is still a solid guy. I mean, it's rather to have him and not need him than not have him at all. Because you're the spot. He was what, your 3rd running back, 4th running back?
Yeah.
Which one?
3rd.
He was your 3rd that you absolutely needed. That you can't risk that. And again, I do believe Harris is going to give you better results than Cook.
And I think I got to go Brandon Cooks there.
Brandon Cooks is a great pick there.
Brandon Cooks as the
we're kind of alternating our home runs here, Bob.
As a flex. You know, I would have went Michael Thomas if I wouldn't have went Mike Evans. So if I would have went Christian Kirk, I probably would have went Michael Thomas in that round. But as you see, Michael Thomas is going 10th round, and the potential for him to knock off. I mean, look.
He also has the potential of being nothing. He has the potential to be complete and utter draft bust.
Joe is sitting there, though, with Jamar Chase, Jerry Jeudy, Christian Kirk, George Pickens, and then Michael Thomas. It's a total shot in the dark that would hit, and it's totally plays within your strategy here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just hits.
It does.
If it's gonna hit, I mean, you might just trade them.
I'm going to scroll down real quick to see how many draft picks we have left here. Oh, so a ton.
We do need a kicker and a defense.
We do need to draft a kicker and a defense in this league. So we're down to, 7-ish picks left, and I'm on the clock. So, you know, I've said many times this part of the draft is for swinging for home runs. And for me, the one I'm going to take here is the one in Buffalo and Gabe Davis. When Gabe Davis is on, it is explosive. When Gabe Davis is not on, not so much so. But given the fact that I already have Allen on my roster, I like stacking points. They are going to play some bad defenses this year. They do play the Chargers after all, because they play the West. And there's 4 games right there where, maybe not the Chiefs, but the other 3, Gabe Davis is playing because he's going to torch Denver.
It feels like it.
Gabe Davis has potential to take off. And I think that he, last year, was like a 4th-round pick. Mm-hmm. And to get him in the 11th, I think is something that's potential here. So you went with McKinnon after that. You've been taking McKinnon a lot.
I have been. Let me think through this selection here. So
here's my guy.
There's your guy. You got to get him in every draft. So the reason why we continue to say don't take both a tight end and a quarterback in the first 4 rounds is for this specific reason, is that you're walking out of the draft with the back half. If you don't get Isaiah Pacheco as I wanted, you're walking out of the back half of the draft taking what could potentially be a bunch of backup running backs with specializations.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a chain is probably going to see the field depending on if they get Dalvin Cook.
I was going to take Algier.
That's also an option that I was going to take too. So you're taking a bunch of backups at the cost of potential starters because there are still starting wide receivers sitting here.
So wait, I have already taken 4 receivers or 4 running backs. So for me, 4 running backs is enough. And to get them out of the way early
you can see your team if there's a team tab option if you you can look at your roster down there.
Oh, there we go. Oh, so there we go. Okay. So yeah, so
you're drafting bench.
So I have 3 bench spots left, a kicker and a defense to fill. And while it is appealing to have 2 defenses, especially if it's a spot where it's really going to be kicking off, if there is another home run possibility out there, to me, you absolutely have to take them. And as I'm sitting here right now, at this point, Sky Moore's there, but I'd rather try to start a run.
Oh, a run, he says.
I'd rather try to start a run by starting the defenses early. And when we're looking at the defenses, I believe the Eagles are going to have the best defense because they're a sack machine. And sacks are what carry fantasy defenses in the sport.
It's true.
But I do love Sky Moore. I'm not trying to diminish that at all. If he's on the board on the way back, awesome. But there's a couple other receivers that I like late that I could take home runs on, as well as my second quarterback that I'm going to take here at some point.
Ooh, taking 2 quarterbacks.
It might be my last pick now that I already took a defense.
You did not start a run, and
I did not start a run at all, actually.
I like that.
That's what happens when you swing for the fence sometimes. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. But Sky Moore goes right there on the turn, and Renfro goes to you. 2 of the guys that I really like as far as looking for Javonte. So I'm like what the guy on the end that is doing here. He's taking guys who are potential flyers. Javonte Williams, Flowers, and more. And then he throws Thielen in there as a potential safe pick. Unfortunately, he might be a viewer because he's taking all of my guys. But you know, it's part of the process here that you just live with.
You're not going to take a second tight end.
I am going to take my second tight end because this is a full PPR league, and what Higbee could be is amazing. I mean, Higbee's a tight end machine. I also know he's something you love. And as we go through this here, I'm going to take Boyd as like the insurance policy. Boyd to me is someone that is not going to be a high upside guy by himself. But if either Higgins or Chase go down, Boyd steps right up, almost like a backup running back. Shaheed is a great flyer as well in that department. So I am now having down to one bench spot remaining. And it's time for people to start taking their defenses and kickers.
Here it comes, baby. Kickers and defenses. Is it my turn? Take my boy.
Take your boy. Cuckoo. Again, it's all about getting sacks to make fantasy points.
You already have a defense.
I have two of them now. That's my backup.
What are you doing?
What I do, I'm having a 2 deep. I don't need a second kicker.
You need a kicker.
I'm taking my last pick. He's useless. I don't care who it is. Almost always when it comes time to this, I take the one from Philadelphia because he annoys you.
He's so annoying.
But yeah, taking two defenses that I know they're the two defenses I believe are going to be first and second in the NFL in sacks: the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles. So when I look at this overall, I really like how this draft did end up shaking out. All right, team players, welcome back to this episode where we're going to break down the fantasy draft that we just did here, Bob. And when I look at the challenge that we put upon ourselves, being forced to take either a tight end or a quarterback in the first 4 rounds, it really did change up our draft. So, Bob, why don't you talk about how your take on it was and how you feel your team shake out?
So, logistically speaking, team players, I hate my draft. I really, the more and more, I'm not dogging any of the first 6 picks. I think what happens though, when you take the tight end and the quarterback early, like we said, if you take both in the first 5 rounds, you're really handcuffing yourself of potential, like boom potential in the back half of your draft, because you're looking for running backs. And so you're taking a lot of backup running backs. And so what I did in that situation, though, looking for a backup running back, is not just taking a backup, but potentially looking for some specialization. And so I think that the speed of a Shane, no matter if Miami gets Cook or not, I think that the beneficiary of Cook being there would be that Ashane would play, because I don't think that they're going to want to pay.
I don't think Cook goes to Miami.
Just thinking. I don't think they're going to want to pay Mostert, Wilson, and he's on a rookie contract. How could you not like that?
Yeah, no. I don't think Mostert is making the team, regardless of whether Cook's there or not.
You'll notice that the only running back, I mean, you see Mostert at the back end there, that typically speaking, when we look at mock drafts, that in Miami, the only player that in the running back department that's been getting drafted consistently is Ashane. There's something to say about that. He provides explosive potential to an explosive team. And so that's what they want out of their running back position. Again, McKinnon in a PPR format, it's really hard not to take a guy who had a lot of receptions last year. You know, it's not to say that his position is going to be the same. As I said, I would have rather had Pacheco in the 8th round, but he got sniped right before me. And so it's really, I would like that a lot. Chuba Hubbard, we know that Miles Sanders gets hurt. Miles Sanders got drafted Where did he get drafted at? He got drafted in the 6th round in this league. I like Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders is a good running back. However, Carolina is a different team.
Yes.
And I think that they're probably going to play Chuba Hubbard a lot. Now, Chuba Hubbard he's really low end for me because even when he played, he wasn't that good. And so we go to his game log from last year. When he did play, he had a good week at 15 points and 18 points when he played Seattle and Tampa. But the rest was pretty pedestrian and, not startable. But if something were to happen, maybe he comes on. And then Damian Harris is purely there for the potential touchdowns at the goal line. You could see, you've had fantasy players get touchdowns at the goal lines a lot. Jamal Williams did it last year. And, you say to yourself, okay, well, I'm looking for potential at my running back position. All 4 of those guys provide you different things. You're not going after pure backups, and you're going after guys that will give you different options depending on what you're looking for, because Chubb and Aaron Jones are 2 really good top 2 options. And as I said in the previous draft, I really don't like going after Jones as my second running back, but sitting there and having the choice of Olave, Breece Hall, Jones, Devonta Smith. I really thought that I could get Olave and Devonta Smith, but I was dreadfully wrong.
Hey, you are next pick wrong.
So that's kind of the situation that you're walking into when you do something like this. And then, when Lamar Jackson's there, the guy I wanted was Joe Mixon. For everything that I've knocked on him for as a second, third option on
Madison's the guy you wanted. Who are you kidding?
I wanted Madison, but when you took Madison, getting Mixon would have been a nice consolation prize, I think. And then, when Lamar's there, you got guys like Fields, Kittle, McLaurin, Sanders, Pierce. And I think that the only other really true option at that point in time would have been Fields for his upward potential as a running quarterback. But we know Lamar's not going to play a full season. You'll see that I didn't draft.
Fields didn't either.
You'll see that I didn't draft a second quarterback because that's probably I'm taking a chance on a guy like Chuba Hubbard to start with. If it doesn't work out, I'll just take a guy on waivers for when it happens. Because as you can see, there are still some options still available to us. Derek Carr wasn't drafted. That's an option that comes available. Love wasn't drafted. Bryce Young wasn't drafted. Stroud, Stafford, Pickett, Purdy, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, those guys weren't drafted. So I think filling that position instead of taking 2 quarterbacks, filling it with a position that, could potentially turn into something for you isn't a bad option. The wide receivers I'm fine with. Olave and Drake London as a 1-2 punch, I think is great. Mike Williams as a third, who could potentially turn into a 1. And having Evans as a 4th option and Cooks as a 5th option.
Cooks is great, yeah.
And Renfro as a 6th and Rashid as a 7th.
Yeah, you recovered well with the running back part of, or the receiver part of your job. It's the running backs. You really don't have the depth there if Jones goes down or Chubb goes down.
It's definitely wicked walking out, because as you can see, the guy that the guy who started and then went on auto basically took every single running back that I would have considered in those positions. So, getting Mixon, getting Cam Akers, I was considering Kamara, but as I said, I couldn't take him as my 3rd option. And I'd much rather have Evans as a 4th wide receiver than Kamara as a 3rd potential option there, because we don't know if he's going to play this year. In that situation, I feel like Kamara would be a wasted pick for me, whereas Evans could flex into the flex position and get me points. If I'm looking at the team in totality, the starting lineup would be Lamar, Chubb, Jones, Olave, London, Williams, Kelsey, Evans, Harris, Koo, Patriots, and then Cooks, McKinnon, Achane, Renfro, Hubbard, and Rashid. And wow, that's a realistic team.
That is. All this is realistic, yeah. It's not like we're cheating here.
I'm just not sold on the taking 2, non-positional players or non-running back and wide receivers. But if you're going to take any, Lamar and Kelsey,
or 2 worth having,
I would rather have Lamar and Kelsey than Hurts and Andrews. I know it costs me a little bit more.
Well, let's
more.
look at that team that took Diggs, Brown, Hurts, Andrews, obviously. Their running back room is Sanders, who's not a pure number one, and P. Ryan, who's not a pure number one either. And they're all just playing the "we hope someone gets hurt" game. And
that's what you got to do when you do that.
But here's the two teams they don't have the top end receiver talent that you could hang your hat like.
Well, they do.
They have two of them. But I look over here at the guy who's the first pick overall. They also put St. Brown pairing up the tight end and quarterback. I like their team overall. They took Connor after Sanders, who's actually going to be a starter and getting volume. Granted, horrible team. And A.J. Dillon snipes touchdowns. I mean, there were people last year were taking A.J. Dillon in the 4th round last year. The guy didn't become less talented because he's with a quarterback who's going to hand the ball off more now. If anything, he should maintain his status than go down. So, team players overall, hope that you guys enjoyed watching this experience of seeing what it's like if we force ourselves to take a quarterback or a running back in the 1st round. If you have not already taken the team player pledge and subscribed and become a team player, please do so now. We are going to be doing our best ball leagues, so leave us your contact information, which is your email. That's all we really need. Either in the comments here below, or you can find our email on our YouTube channel page here and just send us one over and let us know you're interested. We'll be doing a ton of these as we come around closer to the kickoff of the season.